And you wonder why I'm always up here praising him? Because he did an incredible job as Prime Minister, and the Deputy Prime Minister did an incredible job. So again, thank you, Prime Minister.
It's always great to be here with friends, particularly you, Premier Ford.
Again, his relationship with some other folks. We have him talking about Chrystia Freeland. So south of the border, this is Chrystia Freeland. This is the Deputy Prime Minister to Justin Trudeau. She's also the Minister of Finance. She's the one that resigned the hours before delivering our federal budget. She resigned. She's the one that triggered him to resign, and now she's the one running to be the leader. She's the one that says that she was the one that's under Trump's skin during the NAFTA agreement. She's taking the credit for being the thorn in his side. This is who DougFord praises as well. He loves the Liberals. He is in love with the Liberals.
Now I'll hand it over to my very good friend, Deputy Premier Chrystia Freeland. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Doug, Premier, for that.
So I just wanted to get that snapshot there. So we're now going to move over to his comments in regards to true leadership, right? So we're going to play those. And then we're going to I'm going to share another article in regards to when he talks about that there's no one that is better in the role than Chrystia Freeland. He praises her like crazy. And then we'll have some videos of Chrystia Freeland. She praising Doug, where she calls him a very good friend. She's grateful for his friendship and his trade disputes with the U.S. as the trade disputes with the U.S. deepens. So that was back in 2020. And then also a little article there of her calling Doug her therapist. This was during 2020. So at the end of the day, DougFord's warm relationship with Chrystia Freeland and the whole team Trudeau is a glaring example of how far the DougFord Ontario PC party has fallen. They're no longer conservatives. They are just an extension of the federal Liberal Party.
I want to congratulate my good friend, Chrystia Freeland. She's just an amazing person. Actually, I texted her this morning to say congratulations. I don't know how she's going to do it. She's working around the clock now, and she's going to do finance, but there's no one that would be better in that role than Chrystia Freeland.
There's another article here where Chrystia, now this is where she talks about, she credited her leadership. She's talking about the North America Free Trade Agreement. This is when Trump was in leadership, and she talked about she managed to get under his very thin skin. And then she talked about we don't like their representation very much. This is what he said about Chrystia. And then just 2 weeks earlier, Freeland poked the Trump bear directly, arriving in Washington, D.C. for a last-ditch trade talk, wearing a T-shirt her kids had given her for Christmas the year before, and splashed across the front of the shirt in bold black letters. It said, "Mama does not equal chopped liver." And on the back of it, it says, "Keep calm and negotiate NAFTA." Right? That's what she wore to meet Donald Trump, a T-shirt. And the T-shirt said, "Mama does not equal chopped liver." And then Trudeau named her Deputy Prime Minister in 2019. And he also gave her a mandate letter that made her take the reins of some of the government's biggest, but also the most politically tricky policies. negotiating new healthcare agreements with provinces, climate change and the carbon tax, an assault rifle ban. So again, south of the border, you guys have the right to bear arms. Many of our farmers and those in rural areas, they also had the right to have it, but then the Liberal government banned their ability to have their firearms. And they use again the fear mongering as the reason why anytime something happens south of the border, they're like, oh, we need to ban the guns, and we're like, okay, but we're in Canada. This has nothing to do with what's happening here. Then we had an issue. We had an incident of this man who was going across Canada on a shooting rampage. One, it's not like it was an epidemic, or again, based on the amount of, like, anytime there's a south of the border incident, we rarely have, not that one is enough, is not too much. One is too much. My point is the amount of times where these things happen, to now ban everybody, it's again the Liberals just going very heavy handed with everything. So yeah, so she talked about here, so this is where we come to DougFord. So not long ago, Premier Ford and the Liberal Party, the Liberal Prime Minister, were using each other as a battering ram. On Tuesday, Ontario Premier DougFord was one of Freeland's biggest fans. So there was one time where, DougFord was very anti-liberal, but that's because the polls, he was pandering to what the polls are saying. The polls want him to fight against them. And then when the polls show that no, we have a lot of liberals now because people are fearing and people are just going all crazy, he was like, oh, let me pander to that. So now it says, while Ford's federal counterparts were dismissing Freeland's appointment as part of the same old liberal story, no, you didn't find Ford doing that. Ford offered both the federal government and Freeland his full support. A conservative premier, what you guys will call a Republican south of the border, he gave Freeland, the federal government, so that means Trudeau, his full support. He was all Team Trudeau. All Team Trudeau. And then this is the part that you saw that he said when he says, I just want to wish them all the best because they're partners with us, he said. And I absolutely love Chrystia Freeland. She's amazing. I'll help her. I sent her a message. Congratulations. I'm here. I'll have her back. That's what he said. I'll have her back. I'll help her any way we can. This is a conservative speaking about Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister Liberal. He loves Chrystia. He will help her. He sent her a message of congratulation, told her that he's there for her, that he has her back, and he'll help her any way he can. That's a conservative. He also said, what I like best about Freeland in finance is her proven ability to work with people, even when there are areas of disagreement. This has been missing in the department for several years. So that's what Kelly, another person mentioned. But again, these are people that we are we're looking at sideways. We're looking at sideways. So we talk about here Freeland, who worked as a journalist in Canada. So she was also a journalist in Canada, the United States, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom.
was persuaded by Trudeau to enter politics in 2013 to run in the by-election in Toronto. So she was a journalist. Trudeau said, hey, I think you should run in Toronto. And then she was able to work her way up to being deputy prime minister, then finance minister, and then she humiliated him, and now she's running to be the leader. This woman, she's good. She's good. She is brilliant.
Thank you very much. I would say the mayor and I talk to the province all the time. I think both of us are perhaps unlikely friends of Premier Ford, but I would certainly call him a friend. I've heard the mayor say the same thing, and he's said that about both of us. Maybe he has a special fondness for small women. Who knows? So, we have a working relationship. Thank you very much. I would say the mayor and I talk to the province all the time. I think both of us are perhaps unlikely friends of Premier Ford, but I would certainly call him a friend. I've heard the mayor say the same thing, and he's said that about both of us. Maybe he has a special fondness for small women. Who knows? So, we have a working relationship. Thank you.
You notice how
That up really quick, eh? She cleaned that up really quick. Maybe he has a fondness for small women, for short women. Somebody need to look into that. But anyhow, she cleaned it up really quick. Yeah, he just loves her. He adores her. She's just so. Okay, Dougie. And then, last but not least,
Freeland is very grateful for DougFord's friendship as the trade dispute with the U.S. deepens. So let's hear how grateful she is.
So I do want to start by saying how grateful I am to Premier Ford for his close collaboration. I spoke to him this morning, and I would even say how grateful I am for his friendship. We work very closely with all the premiers, very much including the province of Ontario. When it comes to the specific discussions we have been having with the United States, as I think Canadians are well aware, there has been a discussion from the U.S. side for some time very specifically about the possibility of imposing tariffs on aluminum. We have a lot of other trade issues where we don't see perfectly eye to eye in every conversation with the Americans, and indeed with all of our trading partners. But when it comes to a very specific, very concrete discussion, the concrete specific discussion over the past few months has been around unwrought, unalloyed aluminum, which is the particular product against which the U.S. has now announced a plan to impose tariffs. Having said all of that, I have long believed that with this administration, the best Canadian policy is hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And our government, working closely with premiers of provinces and territories, working closely with industry, working closely with labor, we do need to be prepared for every eventuality.
that's what she said. And over here, back in 2020, she making a statement that DougFord is her therapist. It says, he's my therapist, how Chrystia Freeland and DougFord forge an unlikely friendship in the fight against COVID-19. So maybe he does have a thing for short women, small women. Yeah. So, So I just wanted you guys to be aware of what's really happening here north of the border with DougFord, the conservative. He's not a conservative. I don't think Trump has met him, and I don't blame Trump for not meeting him. Trump has met Alberta premier, and he would be very disappointed if when he meets Doug. Doug is not a conservative. He says he's a conservative. He really wants to meet Trump, to be like, I met Trump. I think he's more like, I heard it in one of his video interviews here in Canada, locally, here in Ontario. He's like, oh yeah, Trump knows about me. He knows, it's just a matter of us meeting. No, I don't think Trump wants to meet you. I think you just want to meet Trump for you to have that on one of your, oh, I met Donald Trump, and maybe have a picture, have something signed or some memorabilia. But I would strongly recommend that Trump just sends his middle people. Danielle has met Trump, and to me that makes more sense. Doug, you just want some recognition. You want some clout to be around President Trump. Sorry. So President Trump, this is who you're dealing with for Ontario, and now you might understand. Now you might have a more deeper understanding as to why DougFord is so set against common sense of just pressuring Trudeau or the Liberal, whoever is going to be the new leader, to just put money on the borders and put money in the military. If DougFord stands with Danielle, those two powerful provinces, then they're going to have to comply. You have Ontario standing with Alberta, being truly conservative. Come on now. But see, the Liberal need Ontario in their pocket as a Liberal, and they use them as a Trojan horse, because that's the only way he could have gotten all the things that he had gotten done with COVID-19. He needed Ontario because the capital of Canada, where Parliament is in Ontario. They need Ontario to be a part of it. They need the provincial, the lower level to go along with it. That is why when Trudeau did the emergency order and he did all he did with the truckers, he needed DougFord to go along with it. He needed Doug to also call it on a provincial level. Canada, Ontarians, DougFord has shown that he is going by polls. This whole, I've turned another leaf. This whole, please forgive me. Please, folks, I got it wrong. So he, again, wants us to forgive him for what he did, the lives that he affected, and he wants to hold a grudge with me because I decided to stand against him and call him out during the time. So this is when I ran independently during when the COVID madness first happened, because Erin O'Toole was being a tool for the Liberal Party. He was the federal conservative leader. He was just as bad and just going along with Justin. So there was no political choice that represented conservative values. So I ran as an independent. Now, after that, the Conservative Party saw that the grassroots were all disassociating. So they had to do a coup and a revolt, and they got rid of Erin, and that triggered a leadership race, and hence we have Pierre Poilievre now. Because many like myself were just plugging out, doing our own thing, and the Conservatives knew that if they stayed with Erin, Justin Trudeau would have won again. So that's what I did, federally. And then provincially, this is what I did, provincially. See, that's the thing about these conservative parties, like this one. When I ran and I assisted the New Blue Party to become official party status because they wanted and they needed, a candidate in every riding, they reached out to me, asked me if I could help. I said, sure. They projected themselves to be a true conservative alternative. This was my write-up. This was my bio. So if Doug wants to hold me to that, I don't care, because I don't take back anything I said there because you were a disappointment. I found out, because again, I like to give people the benefit of doubt, that the New Blue Party is not the conservative party. They're not ethical. From the top, they're not ethical. And I experienced that firsthand. And I already wrote a letter and I sent it to Elections Ontario. So it should be public knowledge if anybody wants to request a freedom of information. It was signed by me, my writing president, and another president for another writing, because we found out about some practices that were happening that were unethical. Taking donations that should be going to candidates and keeping it for yourselves, and then making the candidates not know that they got donations. And I only know that because I had people calling me a liar, saying they sent me money, and I'm like, I never got any money. So now you were willing to discredit my name and have people make me look like, oh, there you go, another lying politician. And when I confronted them, they're like, oh, Oprah, don't worry about it. I just focus on, on the race, and, people are going to talk. I'm like, no. I do care about my character. What do you mean don't worry about that? People say they're sending me money. What money? And that's when the whole battle worms, I found out that other candidates as well were not getting funds. They released the funds to the candidates they like, the ones that they want to keep around, but the ones that they realize were not going to be tokens, the ones that they realize are not going to be controlled, got a hard time. I had two people had the audacity to call me, oh, let's have a meeting, let's talk, and I'm like, no, there's I'm sorry. Give me, I don't care if it was $5 or $10, I don't care. But from what I understand was more than $5 or $10 that people sent and donated specifically to me. And you assured me and them it was going to get to me, and it never came. So I was out of pocket for over $2,000 of my own money, hearing that I would be getting money from donations that would balance it out, lower my expenses, whatever it was. But again, as I said, it could be $5 or $10. People donated to me. People donated to candidates. It should go to them. It should not go to the party. And then you say, oh, well, they should have read the fine lines on the website that says the party takes a discretion. I'm like, no, you lied, because you told all of us in training that our links were going to go directly to our bank account, and you asked us to send you our banking information, which I did. And you said when they click on it, it will be going directly there. Never thing happened. You told us not to create our own websites, to save our money, and that the party will create websites for us. We'll all have our bio. They will have a link to donate, and it'll be connected to our accounts, our campaign accounts. It never happened for me. And I had to show all the paperwork to make sure that nobody could call me a liar. All my banking statements, even a letter from the bank manager making sure that it stated nothing came out, nothing came in. And when it closed, it was zero because nothing came in. I made sure all of that is documented. And on top of that, I sent a letter. So at the end of the day, DougFord, you and Jim Carahallowis, both of you that said you are conservatives, you realize that I am that type of conservative. Yes, I am an ethical one. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. So yes, I would be a loose cannon to a leader that does not want ethical leadership around them. I would be a liability. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And everything I said there, Doug, is why I did not support you. And as a result of the damage that you did to the lives of our children, what I saw with my own eyes, I would speak out again. And I heard that there's another one coming. So maybe that's what, again, you're preparing and stacking up for the next cycle that's coming. And you're riding on Pierre Poilievre's coattail. So if you want to hold a grudge because I was very public in calling you out and public in assisting your opponent. At the end of the day, if you were a real conservative, it wouldn't have gotten that far, Doug. And for Jim Carahallowis, if you stayed and you were conservative, it wouldn't have gone down the way it did either. But I am never going to sell my integrity. Listen to me. My integrity is not for sale. And I know in this day and age, that is really unheard of. So yeah, you guys see people like me as a liability. That's okay. And I am not regretting giving you, Jim Carahallowis, the benefit of the doubt, or you, DougFord, the benefit of the doubt. You're the ones who are the disappointment. This is the thing. People like to make you feel, oh my God, I don't want people to know I trusted them. No, because it's them that needs to be shamed, not you. You did nothing wrong in giving people the benefit of the doubt. You did nothing wrong and someone says, trust me, I've changed. Trust me, I'm this. You did nothing wrong. Now, what they did with your trust, it's for them to wear the shame. It's for them to eat the crow. You stand with your shoulders straight and your head up. That's why they don't want you in. That's why they won't want me in. And this is why I want south of the border to know who you're dealing with here with DougFord. He's a Trojan horse. He is a Trojan horse. So if you're upset at that because I'm a woman of my word, and Jim Carahallowis, you're upset because I'm a woman of my word, both of you fake conservatives could figure out, I don't know, that's your problem, not mine. And yes, I would run again independently if I need to. And I would give people the opportunity to cast their vote for someone that is independent. And when I mean independent, I'm not loyal to a party leader. I'm loyal to the party's principles. And if you say this is what you stand for, then you better be it. And if you're not it, don't expect me to stick around. And I'm not that type, because prior to you all, the other careers that I jeopardized, that people thought I was a fool for jeopardizing because I stood on my integrity, this ain't nothing. I was in other corporate Canada organizations where people thought I was crazy for not complying to unethical leadership because of the money that I walked away from. My integrity is not for sale. When you want to force me to set up union staff, when you are pressuring me to frame union staff because you leadership don't like a certain union member, so you use your supervisors, your managers to frame them and to do things to, I'm not that type of management. And again, they think because of, this is why I am so against DEI and critical race theory. You people don't understand what they're doing to your image. They're making everybody think that you, when they see your skin color, that you didn't get there by merit. But when they look at my records, when they look at my test scores, no matter where I went, they realize, oh my God, she's here because of merit. I am a threat. When they realize that I am the top of the class, or the one with the highest scores, or the whatever it is, and they realize, shoot, merit, yeah, I wasn't here based on civil rights or quotas, or no, merit, they're like, oh shoot, we got to get rid of her. Yeah, because I didn't kiss nobody's backside to get here. I didn't sleep with anybody to get here. I didn't get anybody to hook me up to get here. I didn't rely on any lowering of any standards to get me in. I got here because I bust all through the standards. And on the same par with your peoples, they're eating my smoke. They're eating my dust. I bust my butt and I deserve to be here at this table. That's when they don't want you at the table, because they realize, oh, you're one of those. You're one of those merited ones. Yeah. So when I am now always seem to be faced with these leaders that want the tokens, I'm always, the higher I go, because of the aptitude that I have and my desire to always be the best version of me wherever I go, because that's how I'm my father's daughter. I'm always a threat because 1, I'm female, 2, I'm melanated, and 3, I got brains. That's why when I return back to university doing my undergrad, even my ex-husband will always have negative things to say and try to be condescending and like, oh, and then graduated with all of the stuff that been thrown at me, thinking, yeah, she's not going to finish. Yeah, she's going to finish. Yeah, it might have taken me 10 years to finish a 3-year course, but I'm going to finish it. And I finished it with a bang. A's and A minuses. Oh, I finished my last year with a bang. And now I'm in my master's. Finished my first semester, A minus, A plus. Yeah. I am going to toot my own horn. You got that right. All merit. So now when I walk into a position and a role and they see the letters behind my name, I'm going to let you know this is not a DEI letters behind my name. This is not critical race theory and all these type of things behind my name. This is merit behind my. This is why I'm saying these programs are not going to help our young people when people see them walk into a position and think that they're there because of a program that had to lower a bar for them. It makes it difficult for those of us who did not and do not need anything lower. We just need to get out of our way. Leave us alone and let us be, and we will bust your ass. We'll just leave you in the dust. Yeah, we would leave you in the dust. And there's more of me and more like me. We would leave you in the dust. And it's not because I have Nigerian blood in me from my mother's side. And not because I have the indigenous Carib in me from my father's side. Be like, oh, that's why. No, there's many of us. Just the melanin in our skin makes us brilliant. And we thrive. We are go-getters. We don't give me no handouts. Just get out of my way. Leave me alone and let me be. Don't put barriers in my way. And even if you put barriers in my way, I'm going to overcome them. But every time I overcome them, you're like, oh, shoot, let me keep throwing barriers. And I keep overcoming them. Many like me before and after is going to keep overcoming them. But guess what? It's going to be hard when we have all these programs making people believe that they cannot do it on their own. And don't tell me we got to get rid of specialty programs and we got to get rid of auditions and all that because of, I did not have a silver spoon in my mouth. People talk about Kemi and the fact of how she this, how she that. Many of us identify with her, where our parents came and sent us to a different country to make better life better. And they know we have the ability, but where we are, we would be stifled. And we come and we immigrated to another country and we let people eat our dust. And we work our butt off. And if we got any assistance, we say thank you and we elevate. Oh yeah, I know what it is to be geared to income. I know what it is to be in a co-op. And it's a short term. It's enough for me to save so I can get my heck out of there. But see, many of you stay in it generationally and you keep birthing children in that cycle. They never get out because they love the fact of the government taking care of them. I don't want you in my business. In co-op, every year, I got to send you my bank statements. You got to be in my business. You got to see how much I'm making. You want to see this. You got to see that. You want to see my notice of assessment. Y'all up in my business. Get out of my business. But you have to do that for them to be in your business because you're on their system. And then you can't have guests over. If you have guests over staying for more than 3 months, then they're going to come off of the co-op. And then I was like, so I can't have friends or family come to visit me. And if they're like, no, get out of my business. You want us out of your business? Get off the program. I'm like, thank you very much. Not like, yeah, I wasn't staying here long anyways. But things like that nerves me because like, get out of my business. But you see, many of you love the government in your business. And was only there because I had one parent who was about the business. And the other one who was just like, yeah, I'm going to take what is given. And yeah. And I had another parent that said, nope, get out of my way. I can do better. I am better. So I lean more on the other parent, the one that says, no, I'm not satisfied with what you want to give me. I can make my own because I am an entrepreneur. It's running in my veins. Get out of my way. Do you know who I am? That parent, that's where I leaned on. I have sibling that leaned on the other personality of the other parent. That's just all right with whatever is given. This is the problem that we have within the community of melanated people. And this is why I am always and will always be against programs that keep the oppressive mind and keep people in a state of oppression and make you think you can't do unless the government give you. And they keep reminding you of how oppressed you are and how disenfranchised you are and how marginalized you are and They keep reinforcing that because they need you to keep eating and drinking that and digesting that. So yeah, Doug. If that is why you called my writing and shut down the interview, and for my writing association, now I know that you're also puppets. Puppets need puppet helpers, puppet enablers. As much as people want to call people puppets, leaders could only be in puppets when they have enablers. So every one of these conservative writing association, you are enabling DougFord's puppeting and being a liberal plant dressed in blue. Every one of your writings that allow him to tell you who is going to represent you. You're all guilty of it. So, DougFord wants to trigger an election? Not a problem, Dougie. Not a problem, Dougie. Not a problem at all. So let's go and let's wrap it up with this.
Once and for all, will you be calling an election next Wednesday?
We will be calling the election next Wednesday. I'll be seeing the Lieutenant Governor on Tuesday. We need a mandate from the people to fight against Donald Trump's tariffs, the attack he's coming against our families, our businesses, our communities. And with a strong mandate, we will be able to fight with Donald Trump to make sure we stop the tariffs and make sure that we give certainty to the people of Ontario. It may take investing tens of billions of dollars. We'll do tens of billions of dollars. It's no different than during the pandemic. We'll make sure we secure people's livelihoods, and I will do whatever it takes to protect the people of Ontario, in turn, because we're the engine of Canada, protecting all Canadians. We will not back down. Right now, there's a lack of leadership at the federal level. And at the federal level, we don't know who's going to be the next prime minister. Right now, we need strong leadership in this country. We need strong leadership in this province, and we're going to deliver that strong leadership for the people of Ontario.
I had enough. Yeah, I had enough of that. I just had to cut that short. I'm sorry. You're fighting against Donald Trump? I'm sorry. All Donald Trump is saying is to invest money into your military and your borders. You see what he talked about fighting Donald Trump? I'm sorry. It's not Donald Trump you need to fight. it's your best friend Trudeau that you loved so much that decided, and you also went along with all his shenanigans, Doug, of the Ukraine money going left, right, and center, and you also supported it, Doug. And him sending all of these immigrants into Ontario, Doug. He is your best friend, and Chrystia Freeland was your finance minister. Maybe you're hoping that Chrystia wins because you love her so much. And you both want to fight Donald Trump because you both are liberals. At the end of the day, I don't know why you're fighting Trump, Doug. Why don't you put pressure on your government? Mind your business. You're provincial. Know your place. Your pressure should be internal, and your pressure should be standing with another premier like Daniel Smith and telling our government, put money on the border and our military. Donald will be like, okay, check mark, thank you. And he'll go about his business. He keep telling you. He gave you an extension. His demand is not unreasonable by no stretch of imagination. It's a very reasonable demand. The man wants you to secure your border and put money in your military. It's like he's telling you what to do and how to run your country. And instead of saying, yeah, President Trump, you got a point, and at that time, President-elect Trump, when Trudeau was in power before Chrystia resigned, Doug, where was your mouthpiece telling him, listen, do this, focus on that? But you want to fight Trump. It's not, you like as if Trump has something against Ontario. Trump has something against Canada, not Ontario. Why are you taking why don't you and all your premiers, Team Canada? Why don't you act like Team Canada and put Canada first by all you all putting pressure on Canada, putting money on the Canadian border and the Canadian military? How about that? Like Doug, the thing about it, Doug didn't even need to call an early election because it's like you've situated yourself to always be the leader, Doug. Like seriously. But you're doing this because you want another 4 years. Like you don't want to wait because you're like, you know what? Just in case the Conservatives, they pick a leader, elections being triggered, Polivier wins, things settle down. Oh, what am I going to fight? So you know what? Let me create a drama now for me so I can have another 4 years. So no matter what the outcome is federally, I'm good. This is about Doug. This is not about you because he's giving you 30 days. He's giving you to go out in the cold and give a clear mandate. No, people are going to stay in their house. People are going to see right through this. Whatever, Doug. Like right now it's whatever. But I'm letting you know, we see right through you. Don't take, we're just waiting. Just like how on the federal level, we were waiting for a coup. The only thing that could really change the Ontario Conservatives to be conservatives is one, if the MPPs have a backbone and a spine to do a revolt and get rid of DougFord, which they will never do because they're sitting pretty. Like they like how the only reason why the Liberal government is getting rid of Justin is because they're plummeting in the polls. But DougFord is one bad scandal away for the polls to be lowered in his favor, for his people to say we want a new leader. That's the only time I realize people want a new leader is when the polls are saying it. It's not really based on ethical principles, them being breached. It's really about themselves, and they see that the leader is not a strong leader to make them win again, so let's get rid of him. That's really it. And NDP, you actually had a good momentum when Andrea left and you had a leadership race, but you know what killed you? When your leader showed that she had no spine, agree or disagree with her member with the whole Palestine stand, agree or disagree, at the end of the day, she caved into Doug. That is what made people be like, wow, you have no spine. It has nothing to do with agreeing or disagreeing with how, with her members' position, and because that's internal. What we all saw is how she caved in to Doug, because she was standing with her member. Remember what Doug said? He respects those people that stand up regardless. She was standing with her member, and Doug pressured and she folded. Because your grassroots on an NDP level, they all were standing with your member. You, Merritt Styles, I believe her name is, you caved in. And that is why people be like, wow, you don't have a backbone. Stand with your people. You're standing with them. Who she was and how her activism is not no secret. If you're a member, you should know the bio of all your your candidates, your members. That's who she always has been. And like her response to what was happening in Palestine and her social activism isn't new. And you said, yeah, you're going to be her leader. So at the end of the day, you got to really stand. So you showed us that you don't have a backbone. So really and truly, Ontario does not have any choices. Until the grassroots really decide to, like, if the NDP ever wants to become a real government again, a real opposition, because they have a majority, DougFord has a majority, or if you guys just want to hang around to get some pensions, but the more you stay there, the more they just do a clean sweep. Like, if you want your parties to actually have some kind of life or some kind of purpose, you got to get rid of your leaderships and you got to get back to your grassroots. You got to get back to the grassroots of who the NDP really was and what they stood for. And the liberals, you have to go back to being classical liberals. But you all of your parties, including Doug's party, has been hijacked with the ideologies, LGBTQ ideologies. You've been hijacked. Every one of your parties are hijacked by them. Every one of your parties. NDP was about labor, middle class, workers. All of a sudden, it's all about everything else except the middle class, non-unionized workers. Because it seemed like it's just union. Everybody else, oh, tough out of luck. So we're looking for a party that's really an alternative. Not just alternative in words, but truly an alternative. Where really a party, I would say a party for the working middle class. Not for the unions. The unions have their parties. LGBTQs have their parties. Like, we're looking for a party that is for parental rights, working middle class, non-unionized working middle class, and parental rights, freedoms, parental rights, and really true justice, where it's a party that really seeks justice for all. A party that stays out of people's bedrooms. We don't care what you do. We don't want any laws forcing us to care about what you do and forcing us to teach our children to care about what you do. We want a government that's small. Keep your hand in our pockets. Let us have more than enough to take home. Taxes were supposed to be for wartime, but for some reason they stayed in. All the GST, like I have one of the liberal leadership now, she talk about GST permanent on baby stuff. That's because she's a new mom. When she wasn't a mom, she didn't give a rat's behind about baby clothes, baby toys, strollers, car seats. She didn't care about that. But she's a new mom, so now she cares about getting rid of the GST for that because it benefits her. That's the liberals. Classical liberals was not that way. So we need a party that is gonna get rid of the GST. It's done. So we need a provincial party. Federally, Pierre is what it is. I'm going to keep my eyes open for Pierre, but at the same time, again, at this time, I trust nobody, because you all have showed me that when I get close enough to you, you're everything that people have said that you are. So time will always tell. Until we get a real alternative for us to be engaged again and really believe that public officials are really there to serve the public. So on a provincial level, I'm looking for a provincial party that is truly an alternative, because my ancestors did sacrifice to have the right to vote, and the right to vote was given to those who were classified as being humans. They were once classified as not being humans. So they fought for that right. So just as you talk about DougFord wants to leave a legacy and give a tribute to Kathleen Wynne, I give a tribute to my ancestors by voting, because of what they sacrificed for the vote. You talk about Kathleen Wynne staying up late at night and making a choice, whatever, Doug. Please, that's not a sacrifice. A real sacrifice is what my ancestors did to actually have the one, to be declared human, two, to be treated with dignity and respect, and then three, to be able to vote. Now, people can say the voting system is rigged, so it doesn't matter. That is not the point. The point is, this is something that they sacrificed for. So yeah, I'm going to honor them by voting. So if I vote, I just want to throw my vote away. I want my vote to be meaningful. Hence why I did this. That's why I did that. Because I wanted to vote, and nobody's going to take away my right to vote because of what my ancestors went through. I have the right to vote because they fought for it. And if it means I have to run and put my name on the ballot and vote for myself, so be it. And the fact that I could even run, the fact that I could actually, that in itself is another tribute. Doug, this is what a real tribute is a real tribute to the work that my ancestors did, that I can actually have the freedom to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do it again and again and again, because they fought for it. Now, because I am a believer in Yahweh, I do know the end based on the book of Revelation. It does tell us at the end of the day, our freedom, our ultimate freedom, is not going to be something that's going to be won through the ballot. I know that. I'm not naive in that. That's not over my head. So in the book of Revelation, Hebrew would say Shazan. It does say how our ultimate freedom is going to be won. Until that time comes, I'm going to engage in what my ancestors fought for. That's it for me. I know it's a long one. I want it to be thorough. So, this is Lady O. Stay in action with faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean. And live like you mean what you say.